Okay. So before you stand up on your blocks, check your feet and just close your eyes and feel your feet on the floor and feel how balanced you are between the right and left side. And just notice, are you heavier on one foot than the other? Where's your body? Where do you notice tension? Where maybe are you holding your stress? Just check that out and then go ahead and stand up on your block and allow your heels to drop down. As we take the ankle into dorsiflexion, we kind of create a lock at the ankle, which drives any rotation up into the knee or into the hip. And just hang out there. Now check the level of your pelvis, your rib cage, and your shoulders. And let's start some shoulder squeezes. So we want to find balance and symmetry between the two sides. Pinch the shoulder blades together, find the mid-trap and the rhomboid, and then release. Squeeze, release. And just notice, if you're right-handed, do you have one shoulder that hangs forward of the other? Good, and then let's do a little bit of nerve flossing. So arms out to the side, let your head drop all the way down, and you're pulling on nerves that go through the arms, through the brachial plexus, or all the way down your low back to your legs. And then as you come up, good, and then drop the head again, down and up. Chin tuck, head slide, and up. Chin tuck, head slide, and up. Chin tuck, head slide, good. And then arms straight out from your shoulders. Bring your left hand in as you bring your ear towards your right arm, and then go the other way. Right arm in, ear to the left. Again, nerve floss, neck mobility. Nothing else moves. And notice, what's the difference between the right and left? How balanced does it feel? If you have any kind of stuff in one of the shoulders, do you notice that your range of motion is limited in your head? Or your neck? Or you sleep with your head turned to one side more than the other? Awesome. Up onto your toes, down onto your heels. Calf raises. Straight legs all the way up, all the way down. 10 times. Hi, Kathy. I had to plug the computer in today. And then step off of there. Turn around, put your hands on the wall. Bend your knees and do calf raises in that position. So muscles that go all the way up behind the knee and then release it down. Soleus is working more than gastroc right now. All the way up, all the way down. Find balance between the two sides. Feel if your ankles work the same, right and left, and how that tension moves up into the space behind the knee. In this little squat, see if you can feel your glutes, like you're digging and dragging your feet behind you so that you access the butt muscles. Good, and then turn around. Walk your feet out away from the wall and find your anterior tibialis, the muscle in the front of your shin, by lifting your whole foot up off the floor. Down and lift. So, if there is postural deviations in your feet, flat feet, rotation in the knee, changes in the hip, where the hip sits in the hip socket, we can change all of that by starting at the bottom and working up, finding this balance between the two sides. Also great for working the tissues that protect the knee. Awesome. Feet back to the wall. Now arm glides. So get your spinal curves in really good alignment. Low back, space away from the wall, middle back against the wall, and a curve at your neck. So you're honoring all three curves of your spine. And then bring your arms back to the wall and glide them up like you're making a snow angel. As you do that, the shoulder blade has to rotate around your rib cage. At some point, your arm is going to want to make your middle back lift up, but I want you to do your best to keep the middle back at the wall. So there's some abdominal support that has to happen there. All the way up, all the way down. See if you can still breathe behind the shield. So if there's a little bit of abdominal action keeping your spine in a good position, can you still take a full east to west breath behind that? All right, now go ahead and take your low back to flat. So that's going to put a big pull on muscles in the front of our thighs. A lot of us have one hip flexor or quad that is too tight, maybe both, and that limits the ability for the pelvis to tilt backwards to go toward a flat back or to go in. So I want you to do like a standing cat and dog. So tuck your tailbone. You can walk your feet out a little bit just away from the wall to give it some space. But tuck your tailbone, see if you can take your back flat to the wall and put a pull on the front of the thighs, and then let that go, put an arch back in your back. Tuck your tailbone, take your back toward flat. Now, this would be contraindicated if you had a herniated disc and you had any kind of symptoms or tingles or anything like that down your leg. So just notice if any of that happens, just wait for us to move to the next move. If you have a healthy spine and we can move into that space a little bit, or even if you have a little arthritis in there, this probably feels good. Okay, can you hold that flat back, middle back, and take the arms all the way up? Hold and breathe, elbows strong and straight. Now put the curve back in your back, take your middle back to the wall, keep the curve in your neck. Hold that position, take 3 deep breaths. And release your arms. Awesome. Take one of your blocks, put it on the side of your body so that you're holding it stable. We're going to do some hip rotations. Keep your whole spinal alignment really strong and stable. And then bring the outside foot up. So I'm holding the block against the wall with my hip, and I'm bringing the knee out. Then imagine you're going up and over a hurdle and taking it back behind you, and then up and over a hurdle again. Do your best to keep the spine straight in alignment as you do that. Let's do like 5 of them. When you get to 5, switch to the other side. Don't let me rush you if you need a little more. Block to the wall, holding it with your hip. Standing up there. Yep, imagine you're going over a hurdle and back over. So one leg really stable, that glute having to work, your core having to stabilize as a break as you get good movement through that hip. Some of us may have had other accessory movements through that rotation with our hips. So just forcing those muscles to be the rotators and lifters may feel a little different. It may be different right to left also. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna borrow from yoga. Let's do a triangle at the wall. We're gonna make this more active. So take your right foot back to the wall, heel back to the wall, and your left foot so that it bisects that back arch or is just a couple of inches away from the wall. And then make your legs really straight. Arms out to the side, shift your back hip all the way back so that you're clearing the space in the front hip to go into flexion while this hip stays pretty close to the wall. This back inner thigh can lift toward the ceiling and the back hip can rotate off the wall a little bit, but keep that rotating, so making that back inner thigh move back toward the wall as you clear that front space to go over. See how far? So we have a whole bunch of lines of fascia in our body. A line that goes up the back, a line that spirals around the front. And as we do a move like a triangle, we're accessing a whole bunch of those lines. This line going up the back leg, lengthening through all the fascia and the psoas for sure, this deep front line. Come on up. Over again. Shift your hip to the back, reach, find length, find space, breathe, and then come on up. Good. Let's do 3 more of those. Reach, over, head to the wall, back to the wall. 1 more. And come on up. Switch your feet. Left foot back, right foot facing forward. Arms out to the side. Good, accessing again this deep line in the back, the spiral line coming across the front, deep front line in the psoas. Shift your hip to the back, arms over, reach down, breathe as your body opens up that back inner thigh, lifting to the back, tailbone can lift, clearing that hip. Good. Feel your body do that. Notice the difference between the right and left side, and do your best to keep the spine pretty straight. So notice if your tendency is to bend here. This is really a hip move more than anything else. So let it happen at your hip. And come on up. Reach. And come up. 2 more. You could probably also consider this a pretty good nerve floss. As we take the head, you can feel that nerve pulling through the leg and coming up. Excellent. Find space on your mat. Round and arch your back, cats and dogs, or cat-cow. Let's see if that will work today. Coming down onto your hands and knees. Round all the way up. And come all the way down. Feel your shoulder blades slide together. Lift your head all the way up. All the way around. All the way up. Round. And down. Up. And down. Awesome. Come down onto your belly, grab both of your blocks. The camera. Okay. Hands up on the blocks like this. And then into the golfer's grip. So take your hand and fold your fingers into your palm, but keep your palm open. And that's going to pull on all the tendons in the wrist. And then forehead resting, pigeon-toed feet. Rotate the upper arm bone outward. We're going to hold this for a minute. So the shoulders do that rotation. And then I just want you to breathe into that space. So the lat is lengthening. Your front ribs stay tucked in. Pull the upper arm bones outward. And hold. Nice, Tim, that feels okay?
Yeah, as long as the muscle isn't taking it there.
Okay.
I couldn't hold it up in the air like this, but
But passively it's okay?
yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, move them to the outside of the corners of your mat so you're in a Y shape now. Let your forehead rest down, keep your front ribs tucked under, find your breathing. Deep, full breaths in that east to west direction. You can fully in, fully out. Allow the abdominals to squeeze in a little bit with your exhale, and then full breath in. Then take them straight out from your shoulders all the way into a T shape. Hands in that same grip, fingers curled, and hold that T shape. And release. Fold your hands underneath your forehead or underneath your chin. Just hold yourself in that position and then curl your right leg up all the way. Then slide the hip out to the side and try to bring the heel down to the floor. And I don't want too much rotation to happen in the pelvis here. So if you notice that your butt wants to lift way off the floor or there's a big rotation, then create some more stability in your abdominals. Otherwise, bring that leg in and let it release. Switch sides, hamstring curl the leg up, slide the knee wide, bring the heel down toward the floor. Little bit of stiffness in your belly, especially if you feel your pelvis start to rotate up, and then bring it in, release. Right leg up, slide it out. So this would be like a pre-crawl position when you're a baby, starting to develop how you push up and working on hip mechanics. Notice if you have one hip that feels really different than the other. And can you make it more similar by adding stiffness or adding a release of your belly? You choose. If there's enough stiffness or a break in the trunk, maybe we can get a little more of the muscles to lengthen that may be tight, that you've compensated for somewhere else, and drive a little more rotation into that hip. Good. Bring it up and out. Creating stiffness in your belly is like someone pushed their fingers in. How would you push those fingers out? That creates stiffness. Now, if you do that and suddenly you get back pain, that could mean that you just added compression into a space where you had something pinched that may not be the right thing for you. You might need some traction or space or release or deep breath, and not more stiffness. Everybody's body's different. Keep switching sides, do a couple more of those. All right, grab your block again, place it between your ankles. You can put your forehead down or your chin on your hands, you choose. I've been liking chin a lot lately just because I spend so much time looking down at my phone that just having a time when my head's going the other way is nice. But if that creates discomfort for you, then just go into a more neutral neck position. Okay, hold that block, take it down and up so that you're coordinating that hamstring curl. All the way down, all the way up. Now here, we're gonna have a little bit of a lumbopelvic rhythm. What you can decide also is that if it's too big, so if you feel like, whoa, my butt just lifted way off the floor when my thighs were supposed to lengthen, then create stiffness in your belly and see if you can get more length in your thighs. If not, take some deep breaths in your belly and just allow that lumbopelvic rhythm to happen, which is a little bit more arch and a little bit more flat, but it should be subtle. More. Awesome. Now pull your knees out to the side. I'm going to take the block away just because it's wobbly. Bottom of your feet together. Find your butt muscles by lifting your knees off the floor. So squeeze the glutes, legs just up a little bit, and then release them back down. Find those glutes, lift, release. Lift, release. Can you find them? Do they work on both sides? When you've had back pain, sometimes the butt muscle gets inhibited. Then we use the hamstring to find hip extension and your hip gets all funky. So finding those glutes, keeping the head of the femur back in the hip socket, finding the glute, creating some lift. You'll feel this a little bit in your low back also, that's okay, but prioritize the butt muscles. Excellent. Come on out of that. And then go into just some quadruped rocking. So hands on the ground, hips slightly wider than your hip, or knees slightly wider than your hips. Keep the low back arch and the gentle rounding in your thoracic back, so as close to neutral as you can find. And then just rock back right till you feel that place where your thighs either hit, your thigh bone hits your pelvis, or your tailbone wants to turn down toward the floor. Just stop right there, breathe, and then move forward. Take it back. Find that edge. Take a breath. And move forward. Find the edge. Move forward. Is it different between the right and left hip for you? Is it different if you make your knees a bit wider? Explore your own hip sockets a little bit. I can go quite a bit farther with my knees wider. That's not true for everyone, but it tells something about the shape of my hips. So figure it out for you. If you take your knees wider, can you go farther back without your tailbone going down toward the floor or your low back rounding? Where's that edge? And if you were doing Olympic lifts, that would be important information for you to have. Okay, come back forward, round and arch cats and dogs. All the way up and all the way down. Shoulder blades coming off your back, then sliding toward your spine. And up again. Go ahead and tuck your toes for a few of those so that you're getting length at the bottom of your foot. See if you can widen your toes. Create some length there. Space. And then come back to neutral. Hand in a fist, push your heel back, come into a bird dog. All the way out, find that stability. We're trying to learn to rotate the hip and shoulder around the ball and socket joint. So bring that down, keeping the spine stable, and then just use the ball and socket of the shoulder up and down. Switch. Leg and arm extended. Down and up. Down onto your side. Go all the way down and bring your arm out, hold your head up. And we'll go into inner and outer thighs. So straight bottom leg in line with your body. Imagine you're standing on that top foot, and then hold some stiffness in your core. Lift that leg all the way up so you're abducting that hip as high as you can, and then lower it down. 20 lifts. Keeping your heel higher than your toes. Keeping that stiffness again, so use the ball and socket joint. How high can you get the leg forward? And then back. Again, stiffness, because as soon as you go back, your back's going to want to arch. So just go back a little bit behind you, get into some hip extension. Feel it pull across the front of the thigh. Keep this engaged so that your hip bone and your rib doesn't change position. You're not going into a big back bend here. Hold that and then slide it forward again. Around the hip, stable spine, and back the other way. Rib and hip staying stable. Take the leg back behind you. One more. Fold that leg in front of you, take the bottom leg out straight. Lift and lower the bottom leg, inner thigh lifts. 20 lifts. Fold both legs in. You have some options on this one. You can just do a clamshell, so bringing the leg up, keeping all of this stable, up and down. If you're feeling strong or advanced today, you could come up higher onto this arm and just load that shoulder a little more, or you could add hips coming off the ground ground also as you do it. So that way we get that full oblique also in line. 20 lifts, any way you choose. And then switch sides. Start with those outer thigh lifts, flexing your foot, heel higher than your toes, take your leg up and down. 20 lifts. Keeping that leg there, ribs and hips stable. Lift the leg up, find that hip flexor, pull the leg up, lengthen through the hamstring, take it back behind you. That's where keeping that stiffness in your belly so that you're actually getting hip extension, not just lumbar extension. Then forward. And back. One more. Then fold that leg in. Bottom leg, inner thigh lifts. Imagine there's books on your ankle and you're pushing them to that next shelf. Hold it in. Find your version of clamshell down in that first version up so that you're loading your shoulder or loading your shoulder and lifting your hip. 20 lifts. And then come onto your hands and knees again. Press up into a downward facing dog pose. Combine all of that. We found length in our hamstrings. Extension through our spine. You can bend your knees here if you want to, or straighten your legs if you feel like you can keep your low back in a good position. Let's not round it. You can press your arms all the way by your ears and let your whole shoulder girdle slide up. You can have as much space as you want there. Lengthen through that space. Play with the shoulder position a little bit. The shoulders can wrap down around toward your armpits. And soften at the track. on your elbows. Now you can choose here, knees and elbows. That would be one version. And just hold that. The other version would be feet wider than your hips and just hold a plank in this position. The next is going to be to load up on one shoulder. So rotate your feet, hips, and shoulders all at the same time as you come up onto one arm. We're going to do 5 on this same side. So rotate up there, then come back down, set that arm down, then come back up, shoulders, hips, feet, all moving at the same time like you're stiff like a board. And then let your hip come down and give yourself a break. Other side. Same thing. Hold knees and shoulders. Hold a full plank. Add a rotation. You could also just hold a front plank for a little while and then a side plank for a little while. Ready? Come on up. Hold. Then stiff like a board, rotate back. And then cats and dogs, one more time. Tie all that good work together. Allow your pelvis to roll over the top of your thigh bones. Head up. Maybe you can find some muscles in your back you didn't find before. Some deeper layers. All the way up. Maybe it's just more balanced or more smooth between the right and left side. Good. Grab both of your blocks. Last one. Let's open up those thighs one more time. So keep your body in good alignment. Walk yourself back. You have a couple of options here as well. You can just let your knees go down and press your hips back up to create length in the front of the thigh, or you can push all the way up so that you're getting eccentric contraction as you come down, and then from a lengthened position, concentric contraction on the way up. Again, staying right here, breathing here, fine. Letting your hips come down a little bit and up, as long as your knees can handle it. Awesome. Stand up and feel that. Interlace your fingers, flip your hands over, take your arms up, look up, go up onto your toes, and just get all of that from the heels up into the glutes, into your back, into your arms. Relax your belly. And release it down. Just check. Does it feel more balanced, more even, more stacked? Hopefully if you had any pain, there's less pain. All right, time for meditation. Have a seat or lie down. So last time I talked about using a mantra, that sometimes our mind needs something to do. So you can have a sound or a phrase. You can use that today if you need to. You could also just take all of the aspects of your mind that make you you, or your sense of you most of the time, and kind of pack it in a suitcase. So things you have to do today, your relationships, your name, your personality, even your kind of need to blink. All of that is conditioned responses that are learned and developed over time. And just for these next few moments, pack that in the suitcase and step outside of that. And see if you can show up to whatever's right here, right now. So notice sound. Notice the space behind your eyes, that's your visual field, even if your eyes are closed. Notice if there's an image or a shape. And then notice the aspect of yourself that's paying attention to whatever you just saw. Where is the seat of attention? Is there a spot, or is it more broad? I'm going to have you sit with that question. Where's the seat of your attention? What's noticing the noticing? If you notice a thought, what's looking at that thought? How do you know it's a thought? Where did it come from? Where's the part of you that notices the thought, the sound? The image, the feeling. Now we're here in this present state. Just invite light to flood your body. Beyond your body to more of your emotional body, or the feeling tone outside of your physical body. Knowing that our physical body, our emotional body can store traumas that affect us in the now. Allow light to just flood in that space. Invite healing into your physical body, into your feeling, emotional body, into your wisdom body. When we move from this calm, loving place, that is the energy that we are both inhabiting, encompassing, and magnetizing towards us and reflecting back out from us. It's the healthiest version of ourselves that we can be. Go ahead and take one deep breath. You can choose to pick up your baggage, or you can just leave it be and return to this space over and over today. Go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you for being here today. Hopefully, we moved everything and it all feels better. Have a great day, y'all.
Thanks, Kara.
Yeah.